Once again, it's Let's Draw Race Cars. I'm Boris. It's Thursday. I forgot the date already. You know what date it is? April 9th. I lost track. We're already into April, getting close to midway in April. But no matter that, it's time to still draw some race cars. This is like episode, what, 14? Yeah, 14. How many episodes have you watched? Oh, got low power on my iPad. I guess I better plug it in. I've been drawing a lot. I don't know about you. I'm going to plug in my pencil too. If you're using regular pencils, you don't have to plug them in. You can use whatever you want to draw today. Paper and pen, paper and chalk, driveway and chalk, crayons, markers, colored pencils, finger paints, whatever you want. As long as you don't make too much of a mess. Of course, everybody's going to clean it up. I'm drawing on a piece of cardboard and my iPad. How about you? I'm here in North Carolina. Beautiful day today. Not far from the Joe Gibbs Racing race shop where I work, but as you know, we're all staying inside to stay healthy, and so we're going to make the most of it. We're going to draw some stuff. Are you ready? Today we have a weird, unique, special race car drawing. An angle that most people never even bothered to draw. But I'm telling you what, one day you might need to draw it for a picture. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw an upside down race car. We're going to draw the underside of a race car. Can you believe that? Now you might be asking, Boris, why in the world would we draw an upside down underside of a race car? Well, let me tell you. Drawing is about telling a story, right? Maybe you're telling a story about the shapes and the colors and the shades of an object. Maybe you're telling a story about your favorite looking race car or your favorite person. Maybe you're drawing a portrait. Maybe you're drawing a landscape that shows your favorite house or your favorite scene. Well, if we're telling stories of race cars, sometimes race cars turn upside down. Sometimes they go flying through the air. Sometimes they land on their roof and they sit like that, like this. You never know. So you might be telling a story where one race car is zooming by and the other one is doing a flip and you're catching the middle of that action. You know what I mean? So that's why we're going to draw race cars like this. It's also going to be a very cool study of what exactly goes into building a race car, because we're going to see some of the parts and the pieces of our race cars from the ground's point of view. Ready? So get your materials ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? All right, here we go. I'll set these up here. I know you can't see them, but I'll set them up here for me so I can see them. We're going to start with a fresh canvas. All right. All right, you ready to go? Got your drawing fingers all warmed up? Here we go. Here goes nothing. Now these race cars always start with guide boxes because I like to know where I'm going to put all the lines, right? So let's just draw a rectangle. There we go. Now we have a little guide. So let's draw a rectangle like this. Just make the lines as straight as you can. Chances are if the race car's upside down, it's been in a wreck, there's going to be some bent lines. So see how mine are not perfectly straight? That's totally okay. Look at that. Mine is bent all over the place. Totally okay. This day and age, we're just sort of working with what we've got, right? Working with the situation we've got. So if you've got a curved line, if you can't erase it, that's all right. We can work within it. We'll make it work. All right, are you seeing that? I'm looking over at the screen you're seeing. Looks like my shoulder's getting in the way a little bit, but oh well. All right, so you got your car there. Got your box. We need to fit that car inside of that box. All right? So, what do you notice? You notice the nose of this car? It's rounded, right? So let's round off the front over here. Round it off. Can you believe this? We're drawing an upside down race car. Would you have ever guessed that? Neither would I. I always like drawing the colors, but trust me, one of these days you're going to want to draw an upside down car. Remember one day we drew the view from inside the cockpit? Well, imagine you draw that view again and you're inside the driver's view and you see a car flipping through the air. You have to draw the underside of it, right? Well, it's good to know. All right, the next thing I notice are those tires. They kind of look like little rectangles themselves from this view, don't they? So that's what we need to do. We need to draw some rectangles in here for the tires. It's about that size. See that? This might be the easiest thing we draw all year. A tire from the bottom view. See that? Very nice. Nice job out there. All right. Next, we just have to replicate it. So I like to draw a line, just a light line like this, that kind of lines them up correctly. See how I'm drawing a rectangle within our rectangle? I know it's probably light on your screen, but hopefully you can see them. I'll draw them a little darker and then I'll erase them just so you can see what I'm doing. See, I'm lining up one tire with the next. Does that make sense? So if I drew one in here, I just draw one in the same place and work with the lines I already have. Try to make it the same width. Try to make it all looking good. 4 tires. Now if your car's been in a big wreck, maybe it's lost a tire, maybe it's lost a wheel, but all of ours are in place here. Look at that. How's that looking? Man, I got a big curve up here, don't I? Well, maybe it's been in a wreck. That's okay. All right. Now if you're looking under the car, up in this area would be the engine. Back here's the fuel tank. You can see it here. We're going to make that a different color. Here's the axle and the gears. Here's the drive shaft that connects to the engine and transmission that spins the rear wheels. On the NASCAR cars, only the rear wheels spin. Let's fill in our tires just so we know what's going on here. That really just makes it look like an upside down car right away. Very nice. All right. Next, I want you to get gray. Get gray with your colors. We're just going to mark some lines here so we can lay out our car. I want you to mark an axle line between the 2 rears like this. See that? You can even go in and erase these lines if you need to. If you can't, that's totally okay. Those lines will have a purpose. See these dark lines in here? This whole wheel well is up into the car. So if you cannot erase them, don't worry about it. We will be able to make them work with the design you're working on. I'll actually bring these back for me in a little later. But I want to erase them so that people can focus on the lines I am drawing. Like this axle line that connects the 2 rear wheels. It spins with the gear. The gear is right here. So put an oval in there and fill that in. That's the rear gear that determines how fast the rear wheels are spinning. Okay? Lots of easy shapes in this one. That's why I like it. That's why I think you'll like it. Next, let's draw what's called the fuel cell. It's like a fuel tank, but it's a little different than the tanks in our cars. And it looks like this. It's just a rectangle. Aren't all these shapes great? The fuel cell protects the fuel inside the car so that fire and damage can't get to it and cause an explosion and cause danger to the driver. And you know what? We paint those red. You can save your colors till the end, but I'm going to paint it now just so you can see what I'm working on. If it takes you a while to color things in, don't worry. Just wait for the end and you'll be able to color it in at the end. Alright. Fuel cell's red because we know that's a danger zone. We need to be able to see it. Alright. Now, I think we need to, let's work on our engine area. Let's go back to our dark gray here. From below, again, there's a lot of rectangles involved in an engine. The first one I want you to draw is the oil pan, which looks like this. When the car is not running, the oil sits through it in there, sits in that oil pan, and then when it is running, it still moves through it, but it does not sit in there. It's moving through the engine. So there's the oil pan. Our mechanics, like one of my buddies, Todd Foster out there, he's a mechanic on the car. He can change the oil by pulling a little plug and draining it out. We don't want to do that right now. We want that oil to stay in the race car. All right. Looking pretty good. Oh, we're spinning up here. Let's get you straightened out, Martin Truex car. All right, now we just need to connect everything. How about the transmission? The transmission's kind of a cone shape, so we'll do one of these. It's like a cone. See? It's not quite an orange cone, but heck, you can make it orange if you want to. All right. That's the transmission. That's what basically translates what the engine is doing into the rear wheels. Okay? Makes them all work together really well. Finally, let's draw the drive shaft. The drive shaft is just a straight line back to the rear gears that spins super duper fast. Super duper fast to spin those rear wheels, especially in a race car. It spins fast. I'm going to shade in my transmission like this. Very nice. Now what's cool about the drive shaft is it stays white. Our die cast doesn't show it, but the drive shaft stays white because people want to see it if it falls out of the car. I don't know if I have one over here that I can show you. I'll be right back, okay? You catch up. I'm going to go get a bigger model car, see if I can show you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're in business. Now we're in business. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It's almost the exact same size as our drawing. Look at that. You see what we're drawing now? How does that look on your screen? Oh, that is cool. We've got our tires in here that we already drew. Here's the white drive shaft. You see it? There's the gears. There's the axle. There's the transmission. There's the oil pan. All right, you see where we're going with this? Yeah, this is a fun one. There you go. I'm going to put that on my lap so I can see it while we're drawing. All right, we got a lot of the big ones in here. I'm going to switch back to a black color. And we are going to draw something called the truck arms. Truck arms, that's right. Now some of these things, I don't exactly know how they work, but I might need to get a crew chief in here to explain it. Let's cut our car in half, like this. Draw a line over the drive shaft. This is a brace on the bottom of the car. Okay? Next we're going to draw our truck arms connected to that brace. Truck arms basically stabilize the rear of the car. Alright, there you go. Coming together. Again, if you're just joining us, we're doing something crazy today. We're drawing the upside down version of a race car, the underside of it. Alright? Let's see here. The next thing we need to draw our exhaust pipes. You hear my dog barking up there? Alright. I'm going to draw our exhaust pipes. Come in here and we'll make them kind of a gold color. See how they're kind of a gold color on this car? The exhaust pipes connect to the engine and they shoot out one side. Alright. So just draw some, these are called header pipes. And we're going to draw them on either side of the engine and the transmission. Like this. Alright. Coming through there. Those are our exhaust pipes. They go back up towards the hood, up into the engine. And then they cut across the drive shaft like this, out one side of the car. They actually come together, and then they shoot over here to the side of the car. If you've ever seen on one of our race cars how they shoot out the side, you'll notice that's what they do. Look at that. All the different metals and materials make this a cool looking piece of art, isn't it? I bet you've never drawn the underside of a car, have you? Alright, well you're catching up. I know I'm going a little fast, so let me read these comments, because let me tell you, I love drawing these race cars and I love reading your comments to see how you're doing out there. By the way, have you invited some friends to watch and draw along? You have some friends out there that you can only reach on social media and by your phone or maybe your parents' phones? Give them a little text message. Tell them to tune in. I want to see their drawings too. Alright, let's see what's up over here. Who's commenting out there? Who's having a good time like me? We're having fun. Yeah. Sean's back. Jim invited Amy to watch. I appreciate that, Jim and Amy. Let's see. Jonathan asked which big diecast this is. Well, let me tell you. This is a car I designed when I guess this would have been about 12 years ago, maybe. This was the 42 car of Juan Montoya. I actually designed the paint scheme on this car. So this is one of my prized possessions, and yeah, this was one of those cool cars. And now, with Joe Gibbs Racing, we like Big Red too. We have all the Wrigley gums as well on Kyle Busch's car, so very cool. Alright, Sharon's watching, Lynn's watching, Donna Lee's watching from Florida. Very nice. I'm in North Carolina. Sean's in New York. Brenda invited Jaden to come watch. I hope you're watching, Jaden. Thanks, Brenda. What's up, Devin? You drawing out there? Alright, let's get back to it. Alrighty. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to dark gray because we need to draw the engine space. And we're not really going to be able to see the engine because it's getting dark up there. It's up further in than the oil pan. So we're just going to fill in with some dark gray in here like this. Ooh, that's pretty much black. And that's okay. It really doesn't matter what color it is. We're just filling it in. Filling in some space up here. A lot of gray space on the bottom of the car. Now that we've got our exhaust pipes and all sorts of things filled in, we can really start filling this out. Now the nose needs some bracing up here, because let me tell you, in NASCAR, using that front bumper is what it's all about. So you got to have some braces and bars up here, so I like to just draw some bars. There's also a radiator up here we'll get to. But I'm just filling in, having fun. You know the cool part about drawing the underside of a car? You can't really make a mistake of it. Nobody really knows exactly what it looks like, unless you're one of our crew chiefs who is in charge of making sure they're built right. Put some gray in those tires. Look at that. If you want to, you can erase the guidelines at the front to make the nose look curved. See how much that makes the car come together? I'll put this one back there so you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, we can also fill in some gray back here. Where'd my pen go here? Oh, I was on the eraser. You can't draw with an eraser unless you're erasing something that's already there, right? Alright, just filling in the back here. This is just parts of the car to kind of build the foundation and hold the body onto it. So they're just flat gray. They're just some gray in there. You got your axle, got your rear end gear, got your fuel tank in red if you're just joining us. Alright, I'm actually going to fill in all this stuff. Now if you are taking a long time to fill in, that's okay. I know it takes a long time to fill in and I can go faster because I have an iPad. You can do this at the end. I'm just filling in so that you can see what's going on here. Alright. Remember to leave that drive shaft white. That's a rule in NASCAR. It has to be white so that if it comes out of the car, you can see it. If there's a wreck and it flies off the car, you want to be able to see it on the track, so they paint it white. There we go. Filling in. Filling in my my car here. Alright. Alright, I guess we can fill in around the wheel wells too. I've got most of our pieces together. I'm going to draw some darker marks in here to indicate the engine and the fuel tank again. Actually the oil pan, I mean, not the fuel tank. So I'm going to outline that oil pan. Outline the transmission. We want to be able to see these things. This is like a scientific experiment here. It's like a dissection of a race car, isn't it? Transmission, oil tank, the engine is up here. You can't really see it, but it's there. It's a block. It's a big block of metal with tons of important things inside. I'm going to outline our exhaust pipes so you can see those. They're connected there in the middle and they go back up to the header pipes which go into the engine. Look at that. There's actually two here, so I'm going to keep those separate, a little line. If you want to get crazy, you can draw a couple flames coming out the tailpipes like that. Get a little crazy there. This is a crazy drawing, so why not get a little crazy with some flames and some tailpipe exhaust here. Sometimes the cars spit out some exhaust, and if it's really hot it might have a little blue in it. There you go. Alright. This is wild, huh? Now say I'm drawing Kyle Busch's number 18 Interstate Batteries Camry. You can see some of that green from the body, so why don't you add some green in there? If you want to draw another car, just pick your favorite car or your favorite color and draw that around there. That's just going to indicate that there's a body on it and that we're having some fun. So here's a door. I know that door is green on Kyle Busch's Interstate car, so I'm drawing that door green. I'm going to straighten out my lines over here. There's a green door. Just seeing the bottom of it. I'm erasing that line so it's a little straighter. Remember, if you have unstraight lines, that's okay. That just means that the car got beat up a little bit. I've seen Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones, Martin Truex win races with cars that were very beat up. Especially Eric Jones this year at Daytona in that Sport Clips car. Does anybody remember that? Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a car in victory lane that beat up. So whatever color your car is on the up top side of it, you can just draw an outline because that indicates that the body's there. We're drawing a lot of pieces of cars, aren't we? Let me show you my big model again, just so you can understand what's going on. See, this car is black on the bottom, so you see the black body panels. We've got shock absorbers here. We've got all sorts of things. The truck arms, the rear end gear that we've drawn, the transmission. In our street cars, really helps it to feel like a smooth ride and helps it stick to the road well and turn well. In race cars, it's a lot more strategic. They use it not to make Kyle Busch and these other drivers feel comfortable. They use it to make the car turn really well. So you got lower A-frames here. Let's draw a triangle. That's why they call it an A-frame, is because it's shaped like an A. And it connects over here to the ball joint and all sorts of things. Hopefully I'm getting all these terms right. I'm not an expert at this stuff. That's why we have crew chiefs and mechanics, car chiefs. So on a NASCAR team, the crew chief, he's like the quarterback of all the team. And then the car chief makes sure that all the rules and all the instructions and setup notes from the crew chief goes down into the car. Crew chief, car chief, mechanics, engineers are up there too. It's really cool, all the stuff going on in NASCAR. We've got a line that connects across here. Those are the tie rods that turns the front wheels. You can't see the driver area, but obviously the driver would be back up in here. I'm going to outline these wheel wells. The further things go away, the darker they get in our car because there's less light up there. They're going up into the hood here. So I'm just going to draw some light lines and really make it come to life. Alright, the radiator sits right here. The radiator is what helps cool the water and other parts of the car. There would be an oil cooler up there too, but the wind comes in through the front, collects in the radiator, and then it goes back through the car, the engine. There's fans up in here. There's all sorts of stuff. We can't even see them all, thankfully, because that'll be a lot of detailed drawing. But if you really want to get crazy, you open the hood on one of your die casts and start drawing that. Well, how's yours looking? We're almost done here with our upside down race car. I didn't even know that we were going to be doing an upside down race car today. I just thought, you know what? I like drawing upside down race cars because it helps tell a story. Maybe your car's in a wreck, or maybe it's up on a lift, or maybe it's going up into the hauler and people are looking up into it to make sure everything's working all right. I like this coming together. There's the rear bumper. All right. Now, you can stop there if you want to, or you can tell a story. I'm going to tell a story with my drawing. So depending on how much space you left, you can do a few things. Like if you're on an iPad like me, I can grab my whole car we just drew and I can turn it around and change it like this. I want it to be sideways like this. Alright? Maybe you're drawing on a piece of paper. If you left plenty of room on the paper, you're in good shape. If not, maybe you cut your car out and maybe you paste it to another piece of paper in the angle that you want. There's many ways to do this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my car in a scene. That means it's in a moment. It's a moment in time that's happening. And I'm going to put it flying through the air after a spin out. And I'll show you how to do that. First we need our ground line. I'm going to put mine down here like this. See, that nose is just barely off the ground, but the rear of it is flying through the air. Scary wreck here. Thankfully it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes they do, and sometimes we got to tell the story with the drawing, right? So that's the ground. Now remember how we draw shadows? Let me show you our Skittles car from yesterday. We did a crazy shadow yesterday. Remember that shadow? It means all the light was coming from that side and making a big shadow, and you saw the shape of the car, and it was connected to the car, right? That makes it look like the car is stuck to the ground. When you do a shadow under someone's feet, that you draw a person, or under a car and it's connected to the car and it's connected to the ground, that makes it look like the car is sitting on the ground. But our car is not sitting on the ground today, is it? No, 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 no. It's up in the air. So we do not want to connect them. We want to leave a space. But the shadow is still there. So right under your car, draw a shadow like this. Just make it thicker than your ground line. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of a hazy shadow. Draw it about that wide on the ground. See that? Just helps to know that the sun's coming from up here and casting a shadow. Now, depending on what part of the track you're on, I'm going to draw some gray. Okay, for some asphalt on this side. It's okay if you go into your shadow a little bit, and no big deal. There's some gray there. This is really where it's up to you. You can make whatever scene is in your heart. Heck, maybe this race car is on the moon and it's not wrecking, it's just floating away. Maybe it's at the beach and it's a race car kite, and there's a little kid down here holding a string and he's flying a race car kite. See what I mean? You can tell whatever story you want. I'm sticking with the racetrack. This is the asphalt on the racetrack. See that? And then over here I'm going to draw some green for some grass, because there is grass at racetracks, so there's some green. That tells the car is not really where he wants to be, because you want to stay away from that grass, but unfortunately in this situation the car is going towards the grass. Here's a yellow line that's on the track that says stay off the grass. Not today, huh? Looky there. Alright. Maybe there's some sky. Maybe add some blue. And you come up here. And you add some sky in there. I like to draw these swooshy kind of lines because that indicates speed and that things are happening really fast. So there's some blue up there. I'm going to outline the car a little bit just to connect it to the sky. This car has become an airplane today. So we got a swoosh going on up there. Then maybe you can apply lessons from our other 13 episodes that we've done. We've drawn the front of the car. We've drawn the side of the car. We've drawn the top of the car. Now we've drawn the bottom of the car. We've drawn the back of the car. So maybe you're in a racing scene and there's other cars screaming towards this car trying to avoid the wreck. So maybe you draw the front of the car right here. And I'm going fast. This is where you decide how you want your drawing to be. Maybe you go back and you watch our episodes and figure out how to draw the front of a car like this. Maybe you put them in there. Maybe there's another car spinning out. So over here, you draw the side of a car spinning out. Like that. Remember we drew clouds with Martin Truex's car to make it look like there's smoke? So I'm just kind of sketching here. I'll make this look prettier later. But maybe you want to do that. I'm just going to indicate that there's a lot of things going on. So there's cars in the swoosh, and there's smoke, and there's craziness and mayhem going on. Alright? See what I mean? However you want to do it is going to look good. I'm just telling my story. You tell yours with your race car. But most importantly, please make sure you send it to me in the comments so that I can see how your story came together and how your drawing came together and what story you told. Alright. Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm pretty much done with mine. Look at that. We just drew the bottom of a race car. We got into all the parts and pieces. Had a lot of fun. Let me see what comments are out there, what people are saying. Alright. Sharon's out there watching again. I appreciate it, Sharon. Devin's out there. Deb. Cook. Sarah. Robert's watching. Says the kids love watching it. Thanks, Robert and kids. I appreciate that. Linda's out there. Lori. Lori says Werner is watching for the second time, day 2. You're welcome, Lori and Werner. Thank you for watching so much. I hope the underside of your car looks good. And remember, we drew all sorts of angles throughout these past episodes, these past weeks. And you can go on YouTube and find them, the Joe Gibbs Racing YouTube, or even back here on Facebook and wherever else you want to scroll through and find them, Twitter. But yeah, we're having fun. Thanks, Werner. Devin still wants to draw Tony Stewart cars. I think we'll get to that. That's a historic Joe Gibbs Racing car. Lynn heard my dog barking. My dog is, I have a chocolate lab and a yellow lab out here today. The other one is at the doctor, but she's doing all right, just out the yearly checkup. All right. Well, that's about it for today's episode. Please send your drawings in the comments, and we will show them the next time that we have an episode, which will be tomorrow. Noon Eastern Time, every weekday. We'll close out the week tomorrow. If I can get out and draw on the sidewalk with some chalk, I will do that today, as long as it doesn't rain. And that will be our episode tomorrow. Alrighty? Thank you for watching. Once again, I'm Boris. This is How You Draw Race Cars, and we're having a lot of fun. Stay healthy out there, and thanks for watching NASCAR. See ya.